Well, Bradley, I see you're proudly wearing your New South Wales Origin attire. What's the story behind that?
Well, we thought we'd change it up. Well, I figured the team was going to be young and fast, so I thought I'd dress them that way.
So you decided this was the dress
I mean,
for your
a few
team?
other people.
About looking sharp and fast?
That's it.
Did you have much opposition?
It was a little bit early, but we got our way.
Well, you've certainly done everything your way.
Yeah, I thought it was important, I think. People say I do things differently. It doesn't feel like I do, but I figure they just need refreshing more than anything.
One of the things that I always tried to do as Origin coach was make it special, a little bit different to what they get in clubland. Is that what you've strived to do in this camp?
Yeah, absolutely. The one thing I think, especially with the 10 days that we had in camp, was to be able to give them a few luxuries, show them whatever we could of Sydney and for the people we're playing for, and I thought we did that. And I think the boys went away really enjoying camp, and that's what got us back when I was a player was, how special it was to be down there, a group of mates, and you find out why you're playing and who you're playing for, and that was the important part.
All right, so it's 5 days since Origin 1. What's been foremost in your mind since that time?
Well, the day I got home, I just knew I had to start the process again and just got straight back into my routine, what I've been doing all year, really. We've got a big sort of review of the game tomorrow. Everyone's been working all weekend. And I've seen the game again, and I just think they just did really well. For so many young blokes, for their first time, the one thing we wanted to do was play for each other, and I thought they did that, and that's not as easy as it sounds.
Is that how you felt watching the game? They're doing well? Like, were you actually in the game with them as they played? Yeah,
I felt like when we were defending our line, they looked like they were backing each other. I felt like we were bringing the ball off our line a lot, and there was some blokes there that mostly weren't used to doing that job, but they did it, and they're tough runs. And I felt that was the time when they would have started respecting each other a lot.
You took your time picking the team. I mean, you had to pick it on a certain day, but you didn't make up your mind too much before you got to that day. The important thing for me was the spine, the make-up of the spine. Damien Cook, why did you end up going for him to be an 80-minute player in Origin?
Well, I led on Danny Badiris a lot. He's one of, mostly our greatest hooker. So I lent on him a lot, and just watching all our hookers, the one thing that we had going for us were our hookers were in form. You had McInnes and Nathan Peach came back late and was playing pretty good footy, and Api Coruscant's year has been a bit up and down with Manly, because they have been, but I think there was a couple of games at the back end that just watching Cook and the way he was playing, and also just look at what he's doing. He's not making many missed tackles, and there was no errors around him, and the way he was picking his times, and he's an incredible fit bloke. So yeah, going with him, and then obviously with Peachy, who's played there before, and that was a just in case. But yeah, I think sitting down with Bedsy and Brandy, we're all pretty comfortable that he could play 80.
I didn't help noticing at Panther training, Greg Alexander had Tyron Peachy over in the corner after training, throwing dummy half passes. Was that at your instruction?
Don't tell Hook that. It was all for the Panthers.
Yeah.
It was all for the Panthers.
Yeah, of course it was, yeah. OK, the kid, Nathan Cleary, what finally sold you there?
The last game, I was really nervous. Not nervous, but just coming back, he's risen to every challenge, which is pretty amazing, and given I know his dad and know his family, and I've known him since he's a young bloke, Nathan, I didn't want to put too much expectation on him and throw him into something he wasn't ready for. I think everyone realises he's most likely going to be the halfback for a long time once he got there. But I think it was the St George game, and I deliberately went out there and watched him play, and 2 weeks off a 7-week injury, and between him and Jimmy, they just nailed it. They really nailed all the big moments and ended up winning it quite comfortably. So that was pretty much the first time he was in the ink.
Was it always cut and dried that if you picked Cleary, you would take Maloney with him? No,
Maloney was a tough choice for me, because I always look at Jimmy and he's very different to what I am. And I think as a coach, it's easier to pick players that play like you, because then you know what they're going through. And he plays very different to the way I did. And just watching the way he defends and watching the way he attacks, and his mentality towards the game is quite incredible. And I don't think there's many players in the game quite like a mentality with his, that he just sort of, nothing really bothers him. He just gets on with the game, and regardless of the score. And, we got behind, and I'm not sure if I was on the field that I would have been as relaxed as he was. And he handled that situation excellent. So, I think it was in the paper a lot about his defence, and something that I'd love him to be more conscious about, but he's just the way he is. He gets up there, and he's a tough kid because he's not that big, and he puts his body in front of everyone. And he was there. It was a tough decision.
And then Tedesco at the back.
Yeah, well, he'd been there before. He did a really good job for New South Wales last year. I thought, especially the first game, it was fantastic. And just his ability to break the line. And I think, he had a lot of tackle breaks, obviously, but I think if he catches all the balls, then I think he'll be in for a big night because, with Cook in the middle, I think they're two fast blokes. So I think for the first time nearly ever that we competed with Queensland in the middle at the play the ball.
All right, so where does it go from here? I mean, I've always said that in these Origin games, a lot of club players don't get used to playing the same side 3 games in a row like this. And it's important you learn a lot out of that game. History shows that the loser probably learns more. What's the challenge for you going into game 2?
Well, I've got to think the players can't be complacent at all. And maybe we've gone in complacent because there's been such a long list of losing. The win, there's such a high, and that was something we sort of stomped on the head straight away that, the job is definitely not over. I think all the young blokes appreciated that and understood it, that the second effort was always going to be bigger than the first effort. So we need to learn a lot out of the first one. I don't think we moved the ball, and I don't think we, a lot due to the fact there was a lot of ball in play for a long time and they were buggered. So I've got to give them a bit of credit there, but we made sure we could have done more with the ball, and hopefully we can.
They've got to get through another round of club football. Are you set that that's the same 17 next time, or are you open to change on review of the game? Or if there's injuries, are you confident you've got capable replacements? Yeah,
look, we're looking at replacements already, and that was the one thing I sort of made sure I sat down before the weekend and watched all the players go out. And, just in the back of my mind, which players could cover which players. I don't know, unless we had a major change of plan of the direction we wanted to play, I don't know if I'd go with different players if they were all fit. I think that's one of the things that Queensland have had an advantage for years is combinations, and those blokes seem to work hard for each other. So I don't know if I'd break it if injury didn't occur.
All right. What are you expecting from Queensland?
Well, I think they'll have a couple of changes. I think Billy, obviously, I think if he's fit, he'll come back. And I was surprised they didn't pick Matt Scott, and whether they picked Matt Scott. Glasby's another one there who they went to last year who's just very sound around the middle, and I'm not sure if they feel like they got let down in that area. I don't really know. But, maybe Ponga. I'm not sure where they'd put Kalen Ponga. But, I think he's an exciting player, obviously, but I'm not sure if they'd put him in front of Billy if Billy was fit.
You enjoying the role?
Yeah, it's fantastic. So 5 years ago when Peter Sterling asked me just up there on the desk, he said, would you coach Origin? I said, oh, yeah. And that took a process then. Laurie Daly got the job, and that's when I started that motorbike ride and just getting around and just asking what the people wanted and what they thought of our team. And, I knew that had to change because a lot of the kids were cheering for Queensland. So hopefully we've got a team now that they want to cheer for.
Well done. Thanks for coming in.
It's only one, mate. We've got a couple to go.
Exactly.